This athlete has biceps as big as planets, fingers made from steel, and he is capable of doing unreal stuff. Today we're gonna talk about no one else than the legend Viktor Kamenov. It's October 10th, 1998, and we are in the home country of a lot of really strong athletes we know today, like Christoph, Netko and many others, and that is Bulgaria, where Viktor was born. He never really was that much into playing games like his friends were. They were typical gamers playing all day long, but Viktor was more into sports. As time went by, Viktor came across an interesting video on YouTube where a guy did something like gymnastics but outside at the park, and yes, it was Hannibal for king. This just shows how big influence had Hannibal back then, and with that said, we could say that all roads lead to him. So this was his first time seeing calisthenics, but he was also inspired by Denis Minim from more closer Ukraine. So Viktor, full of motivation and support from his uncle, which was working out too and still is, was ready to start playing this game, not knowing that it will change his whole life. Before he truly started his journey, in 2011 he did pull-ups, push-ups and dips in between classes just for fun. So the real beginning of his calisthenics journey was a year later in 2012. And his ultimate goal at that time was to learn handstand. He knew that there were moves like the planche or Maltese, mainly from watching his Bulgarian gymnastics idol Jordan Jochchev, but he didn't really knew the difference and the difficulty between the handstand and planche. He found handstand more interesting just from the feeling of being upside down and doing an exercise that can be possibly dangerous. The whole previous year of just basics made him achieve the handstand after pretty short 3 months. Later on he did try to learn the straddle planche, but with no program and by doing only attempts, he didn't really progress at all and understood how hard this skill is. At that time, planche or front lever were a really big deal, because not everybody did these high level moves, and also mainly because back then calisthenics looked a lot different, and oftentimes this era is called the old school calisthenics, that consisted mainly from pull-ups, push-ups, dips and muscle-ups. He even didn't know what the word calisthenics is, because the sport was so small, and so he called himself doing more like some sort of gymnastics combined with acrobatics. Viktor truly fell in love with the handstand, and once he learned it, he kept doing it for a year everywhere. Before the school, in between the classes and even after the school at home. This handstand madness gave him an insane shoulder strength and really good preparation for the planche he needed. And so with the right training plan, he finally started to see some improvement in his straddle planche hold, and even in 2012 he already did a few full planche attempts with a little bit of hold. But he wasn't really there yet. He soon found out that he can compete in local competition, and so Viktor, full of excitement, signed up in 2013 for his first ever competition, which didn't really end up well, and he placed 13th. Viktor around this time started to watch Dmitry Kuznetsov, which was one of the first ones who brought clean form like in Maltese or planche, and basically implemented this gymnastics part into calisthenics. Viktor really studied him in detail, how's he doing different moves, and realized that he needs to be the first one who brings this into Bulgarian calisthenics, which will make him win another competition and also become famous too. And so he kept grinding and grinding. A lot of handstands, handstand push-ups, straddle planche holds and much more. That year he put a lot of work in, which made him unlock really clean straddle planche hold and even a press. He was also close to the perfect full planche, but the main thing was that he already did clean straddle Maltese, which was a big jump in strength level because back then the top level used to be barely holding the stirrup planche for a few seconds. And the main exercise that determined how strong you are was the muscle up. Viktor showed this next level in 15 local competitions in Bulgaria, and he won every single one. People couldn't believe how he got that strong, and so they asked him a lot about his origins, if he did gymnastics, because he always pointed his toes, which was not often seen. His plan to become famous with this strategy was successful, and everybody knew him in Bulgaria, and also his name expanded a little bit into the world. His competing career continued with national competition in 2015, where he won the first place too, and qualified for the World Championship in Moscow. At that time he was already at the top level, so he was pretty confident of getting at least into the top 3. But there was one thing Viktor didn't take in consideration. Calisthenics became a lot different from doing only sets and reps in 2008 because athletes started to implement dynamics into the competitions, even though from today's point of view, not crazy dynamic moves, but at that time it was something innovative. Despite the full Maltese, pressing it up and back down holding it, full planche, Hefesto and much more, Viktor placed 7th because he wasn't a complete athlete doing both dynamics and statics. So 2015 was also the start of Viktor learning dynamic skills, which he learned pretty fast. Double swing 360, swing 540 and few other moves made him place the next year better. But the thing is that Viktor never really liked dynamics. He just did them because he had to, in order to rank higher in the competitions. And so he later on rather stick with what he's good at.
I'm seeing you in everywhere.
It's 2017 and we are in Madrid in Spain. This is the place where the legendary battles went down and also the place where Viktor competed too. Many famous OG calisthenics athletes appeared here like Daniel Slizans, Victor Santoro or Andrea La Rosa, which battled with Viktor. This was the Battle of Titans, where a lot of crazy skills were shown, and it was really tough to decide who is the winner. And so they did one last third round, which showed who is better. Many people after seeing the battle said that Viktor should have won, that he was stronger. Viktor wasn't that sad, but motivated more than ever before for the second battle with La Rosa. He really put the work in and trained 2 times a week for 5 hours of doing only combos to really build up the endurance. La Rosa and Viktor competed against each other one more time in 2017 Burning Gate, and Viktor, being prepared more than ever before, this time he took the trophy with him back to Bulgaria. His last competition was the 2018 Burning Gate, where he surprisingly lost. But he wasn't really that disappointed, because firstly he even didn't want to go, but his friends hyped him to try it. and secondly the people after the battle coming to him and telling him that he should have won and be the champion was the main thing he liked at this competition. After this, he didn't feel any motivation to continue competing, and also Viktor, becoming older and older and getting more into the real world, realized that calisthenics competitions aren't something you can make your living from. He understood that the only way how to make money from the calisthenics is the type of way that targets the vast majority of people, and so he started in 2017 doing his own workshops 4 to 5 times a year. Even though he didn't make enough money from them to live normally, he always enjoyed helping people, which really carefully listened to him, saving every information and then used them in their trainings. Also, these workshops boosted a little bit his confidence because he had to talk in front of 50 or even 60 people sometimes, even for 3 to 4 hours, which gave him an incredible feeling afterwards. Being famous caused also to get tons of messages on how to planche, how to front lever, and so he came with an idea to make his own workout programs, because even though he loved helping people, he knew that doing it for free is nonsense, and so later on he released them. They quickly became earning him much more money, but the feeling from it wasn't quite there and he couldn't also travel like he did with the workshops. You may ask, what supplements this beast used to accomplish all this, and the answer is none. He never used a whey protein or creatine, he just aimed to get all his macros from the food in order to progress. Once in the gym he saw some guys that were on the next level of being shredded and really light, and so Viktor tried to lower his calories intake too, but he took it a little bit to the extreme. He ate only 700 calories for a whole month. That's basically 1 Whopper for a day. This made him drop down from 64 to 57 kgs, and his tactic of becoming stronger while being lighter really didn't fill up. From this extreme caloric deficit, almost starvation we could say, he didn't have the energy, and so he was even weaker while being lighter than before. Even Viktor's friends noticed his significant weight loss, and they told him that his head is getting bigger. So this strategy wasn't really effective at all, because he had less endurance and also it affected him in other things in life. These days he don't really care about counting calories and weighs something around 72 kgs while being 170 centimeters tall, so he's quite heavy. As many other athletes, he has a YouTube channel capturing his journey, videos from training and even tutorials, but he is more active on his Instagram. Viktor also appeared not only on stages at the competitions, but he was there as a judge too. For example, he was 3 times at the World of Bar Heroes, which is in his opinion the calisthenics competition with the best judging system. Throughout his journey he had also injured himself a few times. At the beginning he was using the no pain no gain method, and so he trained every day the one-arm handstand, which soon got him really bad wrist injury. His doctor told him that he need to stop this, that it's not for him, but Viktor, being the true calisthenics athlete, he started learning it on the other hand, and so that's why he can do it on both arms. Like almost everybody who does calisthenics, he injured also his shoulder, which happened while doing weighted dips. He never counted only on calisthenics because he believes that it is better to have a backup plan. As he said, you will open the gym and then you will have to suddenly close it because of the coronavirus, for example. And now what? And so he studied architecture at the university, which many people don't know. And that was the story of the calisthenics legend Viktor Kamenov, who pushed the calisthenics sport to the next level. Viktor is now 24 years old and it's been already 11 years since he started calisthenics. And he's still going, even though he trains just to maintain his strength, but who knows? Maybe someday we will see him again on the stage.
Think I got